As I post this video, we are at the peak of the full moon, which is happening across late Virgo Pisces. This moon is more likely to be felt by those in the mutable group, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, sun signs, especially those born in the last third of each sign, and even more so if near the end of the sign. By felt, I mean the potential for inspiration and clarity, as well as feelings of high energy. However, it is also true that full moons are notorious for ups and downs, so that over the whole period of the full moon, which takes in the day before and the day after, one might be feeling great through one part of it and not so well in another. If you are not one of these four signs, then you may have important planets in any of the four, which would also qualify, and especially if the ascendant happens to be one of the four. In my experience, full moons are high energy, whereas new moons tend to be flat and low energy. However, the downside of full moons can be the ups and downs, which are physical and/or emotional. Essentially, the full moon triggers an area of your chart, which is why you get the effect. And in the case of public figures, it can be for the better or for the worse. And speaking of worse, both as in always as well as in this case, here we go again with the Orange Menace situation. Just today, CNN and other outlets published news that the lawyers for the indicted CFO of Trump's organization are expecting more indictments to be filed. Something about more relevant documents were found in an alleged co-conspirator's basement. Now, you don't have to think too hard to realize that this isn't great news for Trump, because it represents yet another stepping stone in the quest by law enforcement and the legal system to bring him to account. So where is this full moon happening in his chart? It's across the second, 8th house axis, which is where his money and debt houses are, and in degrees that qualify as square to his sun and moon birth opposition. Now, for those who are impatient about the slow speed of the legal process, I'll remind you again that practically in all democracies, the legal system will necessarily function slowly, and this is actually a good thing. If legal matters reach a conclusion quickly, you can almost bet you are living in an authoritarian system. In democracies, the individual is afforded a lot of protections, and if that individual has money to pay for lawyers, then the delays are even more prevalent. And if the individual is this mendacious menace, you know he's going to exhaust every last possibility before submitting to any legal requirement. However, this cannot be kept up forever, and eventually all the delaying tactics get exhausted and you have to face the music. And yet, along the way, the astrology gives you clues about what is happening and where it is going. And for me, this one is encouraging because I'm hoping he will be brought to account. From his perspective, on the other hand, this moon wouldn't feel so good, and it is not any better overnight as it traverses his Access Hollywood T, or for that matter over the next couple of days when it goes through his Aries legal house and contacts the 12th house Venus and Saturn, since this will remind him of what he heard today and what it might imply for his future.